Okay, let's jump into a deep dive today. We're opening up Isaiah, specifically chapter 28.
Right. And this one, it's packed.
Hmm.
Lots of contrasts.
Yeah, exactly. You've got these really stark warnings about, you know, pride and foolishness right next to promises. A sure foundation.
And then that surprising shift towards the end, talking about farming, of all things, divine wisdom in, well, practical life.
So our mission really is to unpack what's going on here. The images, the warnings,
Yeah.
see what this ancient text is saying.
Sounds good. It definitely starts strong. Right away, this focus on Ephraim that paints this picture, grand but flawed. These proud people laid low by wine.
That imagery is so striking, isn't it? A wreath, the pride of Ephraim's drunkards.
Uh-huh.
And it's a fading flower on this, like, beautiful, fertile valley. So you see this outward beauty, prime location.
But inwardly, arrogance, intoxication, like you said, a really shaky foundation.
And the text doesn't waste any time showing the consequences, does it?
Not at all. Judgment is coming. And it's described as this powerful force from the Lord.
Yeah, the weather imagery is intense. A hailstorm, destructive wind.
Mm-hmm. Driving rain, flooding downpour. This is not a gentle nudge.
No, it's overwhelming. Designed to just completely tear down that pride.
That initial glory, the fading flower, it's not just wilting. It gets, like, violently thrown down.
Trampled.
And that other image, reinforcing how temporary it is. Their beauty is like a fig right before harvest.
Right? And what happens with an early ripe fig?
You grab it fast.
Yep. See it, snatch it, swallow it, gone.
Just vanishes. No lasting impact at all. Really drives home how fleeting that kind of pride is.
Absolutely. The core nugget, I think, is right there. Human pride, however impressive it looks on the outside, is fundamentally fragile, fleeting. Can't stand up to the divine.
And right after condemning that, the chapter pivots, doesn't it? It shows where real glory lies.
Exactly. A sharp contrast.
It says, in that day, the Lord Almighty will be a glorious crown, a beautiful wreath for the remnant of his people.
Wow. So the same image, the wreath, the crown used for the doomed pride?
Is now applied to God. But this time, it's lasting, enduring.
He is the source of glory for the faithful remnant. And it's not just about looking good, is it?
No, no. The text adds, he'll be a spirit of justice for leaders, a source of strength for defenders.
So true divine glory brings identity and ability. Justice and strength, that's a powerful contrast.
Huge pivot from destruction for the proud to being the very essence of glory and strength for the faithful.
But then it pulls us back to the grim reality of their spiritual state.
Yeah.
And it gets worse.
It does. And honestly, this part is pretty shocking. It's not just the general population anymore.
Right. Now it includes the priests and prophets, the very people who should be guiding them.
And they're described as staggering, reeling, befuddled. Even their visions and decisions are affected.
The description of their surroundings, it's so visceral. The tables are covered with vomit, not a spot without filth.
It paints this picture of just complete spiritual breakdown, moral chaos, coming from the supposed source of wisdom, utterly degraded.
Yeah, it sets an incredibly low bar.
Yeah.
And leads right into the next question. How do you even teach people like this?
Exactly. What's their attitude going to be?
The text imagines them asking, basically, who does he think he's teaching? Is he talking to babies just weaned?
That sounds like massive spiritual arrogance, right? Like we're way beyond basic instruction.
They see the message as too simple, like teaching toddlers. They mock it.
With that repetitive phrase, for it is, do and do, rule on rule, rule on rule, a little here, a little there.
It's like they're mimicking it, finding it childish. Oh, just line upon line, precept upon precept. Simple stuff.
And here's where it gets really fascinating. God's response. Because they wouldn't listen to the simple way, the offer of a resting place, repose. God says, okay, fine. With foreign lips and strange tongues, God will speak to this people.
So reject the clear path to rest, and you'll get a message you can't understand. Something alien, confusing. That's quite a consequence.
It is. And here's maybe the most profound, kind of terrifying nugget here. That same message they mocked as too simple, do and do, rule on rule. That becomes the very thing that makes them go out, fall backward, be injured and snared and captured.
Wait, hang on. The basic instruction they blew off.
Yeah.
It doesn't just become useless, it actively trips them up.
Exactly.
It's not just that they missed the path itself becomes a trap because they rejected it.
That's it. The simple truth, when you disdain it, when you refuse it, flips from being a guide to safety into a stumbling block that leads straight to ruin.
Wow.
The knowledge itself becomes judgment because of their attitude.
Yeah.
That says so much about resisting truth.
That's a huge takeaway. It's not just ignorance. It's the willful rejection turning potential help into a hazard. And then another pivot, focusing on the scoffers who rule in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it brings it right to the leadership, and their boast is even more out there.
Right. They say, "We have entered into a covenant with death. With the grave we have made an agreement." What does that even mean?
They think they've made a deal. Secured immunity. They believe when the overwhelming scourge sweeps by, it cannot touch us. It's this claim of total invincibility.
A pact with death itself to avoid.
Well, death and destruction. How?
The text spells it out. "We have made a lie our refuge and falsehood our hiding place."
So their security blanket is woven from lies, self-deception.
Completely. Their entire defense is built on untruth. Pretty precarious.
You'd think. And the sovereign lord's response.
Immediate counter. He reveals the real source of security.
See, I lay a stone in Zion. And this isn't just any stone.
No, it's a tested stone, a precious cornerstone for a sure foundation.
This is ultimate stability. Trustworthy, proven, unlike the refuge of lies.
Exactly. And the promise tied to it is key. The one who trusts will never be dismayed.
Such a contrast to the terror awaiting the others. Trust this stone, find unwavering confidence.
And God proceeds using this true foundation as the standard, justice the measuring line, and righteousness the plumb line.
The tools for proper building, for true assessment. And measured against that standard, the scoffer's false refuge just collapses.
Right. Hail will sweep away your refuge, the lie, and water will overflow your hiding place. The very things they thought they controlled or hid from become their undoing.
Their whole structure of falsehood, utterly washed away.
And that grand covenant with death.
Annulled, worthless. The overwhelming scourge they thought they dodged, it will hit them. They will be beaten down by it.
And relentlessly, too. Morning after morning, by day and by night, no escape.
Just constant exposure, destruction, leading to sheer terror when they finally understand the message.
And then that image, oh, it's so vivid. The bed is too short to stretch out on, the blanket too narrow to wrap around you.
Isn't that powerful? It perfectly captures that feeling of being utterly exposed, unprotected. Your defenses are just totally inadequate.
Yeah, you thought you were covered, but it's useless.
Yeah.
Then it calls God's action his strange work, his alien task, referencing past judgments. Why strange or alien?
Good question. Maybe strange, not because it's out of character for God, but maybe unexpected. Or contrary to his usual offer of peace, like we heard earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Or perhaps strange from the viewpoint of those who just can't grasp why God would act so decisively, so destructively. It's necessary, but maybe not his default mode, if that makes sense.
It's a serious sovereign act.
Yeah.
And the warning repeats. Now stop your mocking, or your chains will become heavier.
Yeah. Don't make light of this. It only makes things worse. Destruction is decreed. Mocking won't stop it.
Okay, wow. So warnings, decay, rejected truth, false security, true foundation, judgment. That's a heavy sequence.
It really is.
And then the chapter just completely shifts gears.
Totally different tone. A call to listen. Listen and hear my voice. Pay attention. And suddenly we're watching a farmer.
It feels almost grounding. After all the cosmic stuff, we see plowing, breaking soil, leveling. But the farmer doesn't just plow forever.
No,
right?
there's an order, a timing. Once the soil's ready, he knows what to plant where.
Caraway, cumin, wheat, barley, spelt. Each in its proper place. Precise. Ordered.
Not just random scattering, it's skilled work, intentional. And the text tells us how the farmer knows this.
Right. His God instructs him and teaches him the right way.
That's the key connection. This practical farming knowledge, when to plow, what goes where, how to process it, its ultimate source, isn't just human trial and error, it's divine instruction.
Even something as basic as farming wisdom comes from God.
That's the claim. And it gets more detailed about processing, different methods for different crops.
Like using light rods for delicate caraway and cumin, not heavy wheels.
Exactly, the right tool for the job, tailored to the crop.
And grain for bread. It needs threshing, grinding, but not endlessly.
Right, there's a limit. A proper method. You don't thresh it forever, don't grind it into dust with horses. There's a right way, a right time, a right amount.
So every step is ordered, wise, specific, using the right methods for the right purpose.
And the chapter wraps it all up by tracing this practical wisdom back to its origin. All this also comes from the Lord Almighty, wonderful in counsel and magnificent in wisdom.
That's such a powerful closing image.
Yeah.
After all the chaos of human pride and lies, it shows that true order, effective skill, even in feeding ourselves, it flows from God's nature, his counsel, his wisdom.
It really highlights the scope of God's wisdom, doesn't it? It's not just for grand pronouncements. It's in the very fabric of how the world works successfully.
So recapping this journey through Isaiah 28, we've seen pride condemned, spiritual decay exposed, the danger of rejecting truth, the foolishness of false security.
Contrasted with the reliability of the true foundation, the certainty of judgment, and then this final picture of God's wisdom in the practical order of things, like farming.
A huge contrast. Human plans built on lies versus the divine foundation of wisdom.
Definitely.
And thinking back to that point about simple truth becoming a snare, consider this. The same divine word, first mocked as rule on rule, little here, little there, is shown as both the path to rest if you listen and the thing that trips you up if you reject it, makes you fall, get snared.
Yeah.
What does that really tell us about how knowledge works? Or about how our own posture, our willingness to listen, shapes whether truth becomes a guide or something else entirely? Gives you a lot to chew on.